morning, welcome back to the channel. Mike and I are out at Steilacoom Lake today. It is 7:28. This is a two-pole lake. On the downrigger, I'm going to be pulling a Trout Tricks minnow, and on the right-hand side of the kayak with 1 ounce of lead, I'm going to be pulling a Yakima bait fish flash, followed by an Uncle Larry's spinner in white and purple, and we'll see how that goes. Water temperature is 69.7 this morning. So my guess is the fish are going to be holding a little bit deeper.
5th of July. Picked the lake close to the house. Still breaking in the boat, trying to figure out what's what here. I put the new Humminbird. It's a 7-inch Humminbird with a down image and side scan on it. Still trying to determine if I like it or not. It's huge. So I might have enjoyed a smaller fish finder, and I may yet swap out to a smaller fish finder and just keep this one for another boat. But we're going to run it today and see what we do. Right now I'm running Trout Tricks minnow on this rod. Cal Kellogg's hybrid lead core setup. The rod is an Eagle Claw Featherlight Pro with an Abu Garcia on it, and I'm running that back about 70 feet right now. On the scan I can see weeds coming up to about 8 feet deep, so I don't want to go too deep in here and hang up my lure every 5 minutes. So that's what I'm up to this morning. We're going to go down to the further end of the lake where the creeks come in and feed it, and it's a little deeper down there. It's where we usually fish and where we have been fairly successful, so we're going to see what we can do down there, maybe in a little deeper water. Water temp is very high at 71 out here. This lake in this end is not very deep. Even on the other end it only gets 20 feet or so. So the water temperatures are typically high here. And a lot of people will tell you, a lake that's that warm won't keep or hold trout, and that is absolutely not true. Trout will adapt if they have to, because in the summertime we have caught some very nice trout out of here when the water temps were 75 degrees. And down in that far end there's kokanee in that end that I've caught in 75 degree water. So they'll find the coolest water that they can find if the temps get high, but you can still catch them at those temperatures.
So I was just letting out my downrigger rod and got a pretty nice hit on this service rod, and so I was 30 feet back and it took 5 feet to line with it on the drag. It's huge. As Mike likes to point out, I always think the fish are actually bigger than they are.
Pete got hooked up and I got hooked up, both. We're in the very shallow end of the lake. He caught a little sunfish. I've been getting a couple little hits, but it's little tiny stuff. Oh, that's a trout, and he is not the dinkiest thing ever, but he's not very big. I'm running a natural colored, shad colored Trout Tricks minnow. So there's that little Trout Tricks minnow setup. Shad colored minnow, about 1.5 inches off the front of it with a action disc. And that's the result right there. He's not big, but he's a pretty trout. Okay, I'm gonna extend that net. The reason I bought this net was because it's extendable. It's not the handiest for a kayak probably as far as size-wise and all that stuff, but the theory was that I would get a little bit more length than I have with that other net, so I can reach out further. And if I wanted to, I get the camera in the water and catch fish in the water. So let's see how that works out. I'm not running a camera on it today.
Oh yeah, it's a little sunfish.
I think I probably got weeds here. There's a weed mat floating all the way down the lake. A little bit of breeze has pulled it down from the far end where it accumulates and pulled it across the lake everywhere. Well, I caught weeds and a fish.
So we actually hooked up on the downriggers. We're going up the bridge, and I had another hit on the back side of the kayak as well. This would be 3 fish in about 12 minutes. It sounds like Mike might be hooked up behind us. Okay, so on this side of the kayak, I'm using a Trout Tricks minnow. As you can see, that tail's bit off, so I'll end up putting a new one on there. And as you can tell, I'm also running it naked, so no attractants in front of that Trout Tricks minnow.
A lot of weeds in here today. Oh, right there.
So Mike has been hammering me in the fishing department. I've caught weeds and weeds and weeds. Mike's got a good consistent bite going. And so took a break. I just changed up and switched to lead core. I wasn't even a color in the water, and I hooked up with a hammered God's Tooth spoon. And so, oh, I don't want to say it's a nicer fish because Mike's going to give me grief, but it ain't a bad fish. And that's that hammered God's Tooth spoon.
Not sure I have a fish there, but I had a good hit. I don't think I do. Well, there's a little weight there. It might be weeds. No, that's a fish. No! Second one right there at the boat. Again, Trout Tricks minnow.
So we're finally locked onto a bite here, and I have to tell you, it's been quite a challenge with all the weeds. So I started with a downrigger, got 3 fish within 12 minutes, and I thought, oh, it's gonna be a good day. And then I just weeded and weeded and weeded and weeded. And Mike really turned the bite on, discovering color and a half. And now the downrigger I got set at 5 feet. This is the second fish on the downrigger at 5 feet.
And out there, I got to 113 feet and ended up with a fish on it. That's interesting. So 113 feet is not quite 2 colors in the water. So if I had to guess, you're probably fishing about 6 feet deep there. See if we can get one in the net. One place. I'm gonna have to loosen up or tighten up the water's warmer than the air temperature. And you pick the fish up and you feel that he's warmer than the surrounding environment because the water's 70 degrees. And I think I hooked up with fish and not weeds, but we'll see. Kind of zigzagging between shore to shore out here. Probably 200 yards off of Clover Creek at the south end of the lake. So it's a consistent 15 to 19 feet deep out here. If there is any cooler water in this lake, it would probably be down in this end. Taking that Trout Tricks minnow. There's another one. Not a giant, but a decent trout. I don't want to touch him, so I'm trying to grab him in the net and show him to you, which I can't very well, but
I got a hoochie spinner from Rocky Mountain Tackle on the right side. And off he goes there.
maybe it was just weeds. We'll see. No, it's a fish. 14 feet of water. I'm in between Clover Creek and Ponce de Leon here. This is where Pete would be saying, that's a nice fish. About the size of everything else we've been catching, I think. Maybe a little bigger. Okay.
So, not the stellar days that Mike and I have been having. Like the last 3 weeks, been 30 plus fish a day. I think this is going to be 9 or 10 for me, and catch fish, and off he goes.